Hello. Thanks everyone for joining today. All right, today we'll be going through the trending questions for PSLE Science. Have you all tried the questions? Can you let me know in the chat? Or no, just raise your hand. Have you all tried the questions? Yes? Great. Not yet? Okay, some of you have not. Okay, I believe you all are very busy, right? This is like, no, just how many days before your PSLE starts, right? So this will be like the last, last, last revision. And this might be your last time seeing me also, I don't know. Maybe. Right, those who have joined me since the very beginning of, don't know when, like early March or April, when you all joined me for the open-ended. Oh, is it my video is frozen? Okay, wait. Okay. Right, so some of you have seen me since the very start, right? In April, we have attended the open-ended webinar, open-ended questions webinar. Okay, until now. So if you have been that person, wow, congratulations, you have really worked very hard. And I just want to say, right, uh, as long as you do your best, work your hardest, it really doesn't matter what your result is. Of course, you want to get good results. Okay? But, we all try our best, aim for the best results. If you didn't get, if you, at the end of the day you don't get so well, don't get a very good grade, okay, don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, we all have tried our best, and we just move on to our next school. Okay, so when you go to secondary level, right, secondary school, it really doesn't matter what your school is. It's really what you do in your secondary level, right? If you still put in your best effort, you can still you can still do very well for the O-level exam, okay, or the end of year Sec 4 exam. All right. So, right, thanks everyone for joining. Okay, we have a lot of you. So later, please feel free to ask questions. Okay, control the number of questions you ask, because I know all of you are very excited. Um, we have only teacher Ashini helping me today to answer all of your questions. So please only ask good questions, relatable questions, science questions. Okay, that we can answer, that we can help. Okay, don't ask things like why is the sun shining? Okay, ask proper science question. Okay, right. So if let's say you have not had your dinner, you are very busy the whole day, yeah, feel free to eat something. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah, please don't ask us how many planets there are, please. All these questions you can just Google that. Okay, ask important questions. All right. Let me find my screen. One of you asked very important question. What is the meaning of boiling? Good question. Okay. All of you can see my screen? Yeah? Can, right? All can see my screen, right? Okay. So let us go through the questions. Now, it is best, of course, you have tried the questions. Okay? If not, let's just do it together. So the first one. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, some of you are asking for answer key. Yes, after we have gone through today, together with my annotations, we will share the answer key. Okay, but basically today's session is recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you need to refresh any of this, you want to revisit the questions and answers, okay, you can watch it on YouTube. Right? Now, let's go through question one. Now, we pick some of these questions because they are really trending questions. What do we call it trending question? Because they've appeared a few times, multiple times in the last few years of PSL paper, as well as in some of the school prelim papers. Okay, you might find them familiar because by right they are trending, frequently asked. Okay, So you might have seen them in maybe your own school prelim paper, or during your practice, you have done a lot of practice, like this question might have appeared before. Okay? So that's okay. The point is whether you can answer them correctly. This is for P6 PSLE. Right? When you registered this for this session, you should know this is for PSLE. Asking whether this is secondary level. Okay, this is for primary level. Primary 6. Yeah. Okay. The link to the paper. Shirley, can you share the link to the paper? I think maybe some of them don't have. Oh, some of you are P3. Oh, well done. Yeah, doing a P6 paper. And if you can do some of these questions, you have already achieved something. In fact, right, yesterday I gave a session during the when I was at Sengkang CC, right in the morning. There was a P3 student answering all my questions, and some of them she got it correct. So doesn't hurt to try. Okay, you may get them correct, and it will really help you in your P6. Okay, in your PSLE eventually. All right. Okay, so please do not spam us. Yeah. So my colleague will send the link to the materials if some of you don't have. Right. So let me go through the questions. First one, we have setups A to E. Okay. There are some plants, there's some snails, there's some setup E does not have anything, just water. So 2 hours later, she dropped a few drops of liquid P. It was red in color. It changes color according to the amount of carbon dioxide present. Okay, so you can see, right? Okay, the colors are written here. Of course, you will see black and white. That is what you will see in exam. So when there are the least amount of carbon dioxide, the number is 1. It's purple in color. When it has the most carbon dioxide, okay, number is 5. It's yellow in color. It start off with red color. Okay, so you need to go through the question and understand what the question is asking about. This is the context that I'm talking about. You need to understand what the question is saying. Okay, concept-wise, I'm pretty sure you already know, right? Just to look at it, you know this is about photosynthesis, respiration. Okay, these are the concepts that immediately you see this question, you know you have a plant, you have the water plant, you have the snail, you have a cardboard box which blocks light. Okay, it must immediately link to photosynthesis as well as respiration. Okay, what is the command word in this question? Can you all tell me? What's the command word here, guys? For those who have, attended the super session yesterday morning. Yeah, suggest. So remember what I said about suggest? Suggest means that it could just be a sensible idea or answer. So based on this information, okay, we suggest what could be a possible number to represent the color of P instead of A and C. So let's look at A and C. So A and C, okay, we focus on these two. A is cardboard box, so it blocks light. All right, so blocks light, so no light can enter. Inside A, we have a snail, we have a water plant. What happens in A? Can you all let me know? My screen is always frozen. Okay, let me just restart my video. So sorry about that. The camera is very sensitive. Okay, both respire. Okay, I ask you one question. Even without the cardboard box, will both still respire? I see no already. I see no, 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 no. My response to you is no. I repeat my question. Even without the cardboard box, will both organisms still respire? Some of you said no. Okay, so yes, because why? Respiration. Okay, I just respire all the time. With or without light, the plant is going to respire all the time. You must know this, right? Respiration is the process that produces energy. It must always be there, even without light or with light. Okay, let me just reconnect my camera. You all focus on the document, don't focus my face. My face got nothing. Okay, right, so it must respire all the time. Okay, so think of that. But anyway, there's no light, right? So we look at C, there is light. Okay, there is light. There's only a plant. So in this case, of course, like I said, it must still respire in the presence of light, but it also photosynthesize. But the thing is, whenever the plant is when the plant is in the presence of light, photosynthesis will occur at a much faster rate. Okay, so I just put here respire, slower, and photosynthesis is faster whenever there is light. So that's why we always say, oh, in the light plants photosynthesize. And overall, it should take in carbon dioxide, okay? And oxygen should increase. Overall, because photosynthesis is faster in the presence of light. Understand? So it will still respire, but respiration is not a very fast process. Okay, it's a bit slower. So in the presence of light, the plants will photosynthesize faster. So overall, there will be less carbon dioxide because that is what is needed for photosynthesis, and oxygen is produced. Okay, so if I compare A and C, right, so A respire all the time. Oxygen is used, but carbon dioxide is produced. Okay, so you expect which color for A? Sorry, you don't want the color, you want the number. Okay, so read the question now. We just want the number. You don't need to talk about the color. For A. A. 5. Okay. Some of you say 5. 1. Does it have more carbon dioxide or less carbon dioxide? They only respire. Okay, so you will use oxygen, use out carbon dioxide. So amount of carbon dioxide should increase, therefore from 3 goes to 5. Okay? Or it could be a 4. 4 or 5. Okay, it could be a 4 or 5. You see, the question is suggest. We do not know how much more. We do not know how much less. So it could, as long as you show an increase, you show an increase from 3, then it can be either 4 or 5. Okay? For C will be the opposite, 1 or 2. Why got 6? What? Why 6, 7? Don't anyhow 6, 7, Okay, 1. Okay, 1 or 2. Understand? Okay? So 1 or 2, right? Because for setup C, what is happening? Overall, photosynthesis is faster, so carbon dioxide is used up. All right, so it should decrease, and therefore color change to number 1 or number 2. If A is 4, then what would D be? Right. So, so we are not, you see, we are, okay. So you are saying that, okay, maybe because if you compare to D, which also only respiration occur, then it might have the same number and color as A, because I have written 4, right? Okay, but because we really do not know how much more, so 4 is still an accepted answer. Okay, they may be similar. Okay, even though yes, definitely it will be more, but it could be that both are, I mean, of course, maybe 5 is the best answer. So, okay, so if you are very sure, of course, you can choose 5 as A for A and 1 for C. That is for sure. Okay, but because we do not have the certainty that it will definitely reach the maximum. Okay, so you can choose 4 also. Still don't have the link for the paper. Someone still don't have the link for the paper. No, we don't have more teachers. Every other teacher has lessons. Okay, I move on. So what is the purpose of setup E? Setup E, if I go back to the diagram, what does it do? It has nothing. Nothing in it. No snail, no plants. So what does that mean? Control setup. Yes. Control setup. But you need to describe, right? You don't just say, oh, it is the control setup, full stop. What does the control setup do? Okay? So in this case, what does it do? You see, what are we measuring? We are using the chart to measure the amount of carbon dioxide present. How the amount of carbon dioxide change. Okay? Or how much carbon dioxide there are. Right? So this control setup, which doesn't test anything, is used to what? What's the phrase to use? Okay, to compare and confirm. Very good, Benson. Right, to compare and confirm. That's the first part of the answer, right? After you identify as a control setup, you tell me it's to compare and confirm. Or if you just say it's to confirm, also can. Okay, to confirm that. Okay, what we are measuring is the amount of carbon dioxide, right? So to confirm that the amount of, oops, to confirm or to compare and confirm that amount of carbon dioxide in water, this is what we are measuring. This is the measured variable. Is only affected by the plant and snail. Because setup E as compared to the rest of the setups which have the plant and snail, setup E doesn't have that. Okay? So any changes to the amount of carbon dioxide in the water has to be due to either the plant or the snail or both. Okay, so that's the purpose of the control setup. Okay, so the presence of the plant and snail, these are the changed variable. How about the box? The box is only affecting how the plant, whether the plant photosynthesize or not. So essentially the amount of carbon dioxide inside is still due to the plant. Whether there's light, no light, is still due to the plant, right? Whether the plant can photosynthesize or not. Okay? To ensure, no. Ensure is for fair test. Okay, to confirm is to when we compare different setup, okay, we confirm that all these changes is because there is a plant, there's a snail, or there are both. Okay, not to ensure. The amount of carbon dioxide in water, okay, like if you never put in water, still okay. Okay? But because we are talking about dissolved carbon dioxide, but if you never put in water, you will still be given the mark. Okay? Okay, part C. Okay, in any case, if let's say you cannot finish copying down, please take a screenshot. Okay, part C. And again, I repeat, this recording will be uploaded to YouTube, so you all can look back again the next few days. Right, so she predicted that setup B has more carbon dioxide than setup E after 2 hours. Explain why she may not be correct. We compare B and E. So B has more carbon dioxide. Is she right or wrong? Okay, so let's go back up. So E is the control. So, okay, nothing tested. So let's get B. B, we have the snail, we have the plants. So in this case, both respire, but the plant also photosynthesize. So how? Okay, so will it have more carbon dioxide? So it's hard to say, right? It really depends on how fast each of these organisms respire and photosynthesize. Okay, both will respire and produce carbon dioxide. Okay, but we don't forget that the plant can photosynthesize, so it will use up some carbon dioxide. So overall, whether there's more or not, we can't really tell. Okay, so how we can explain this? So she may not be correct, so they can give an alternative statement. So maybe there are more, oops. Okay, maybe there can be more, there can be less carbon dioxide. May. Because we cannot guarantee that there will be more. There may have less carbon dioxide. Why? Because the plants may take in more carbon dioxide for photosynthesis due to the presence of light. Okay? You can mention that both of them produce carbon dioxide because both of them respired. But on top of that, the plants also photosynthesize, okay, which take in carbon dioxide. So while it's producing, it's also using. Okay? So that may eventually lead to less carbon dioxide present. So there's no way, right, until we have some values. Okay? Stabilize. Um, stabilize. It's still hard to say whether it's stabilized or not. Because we won't know how fast the organisms, how fast they take in the carbon dioxide. Yeah, if you write may, then that's okay. Because it's just a possibility. Okay, it's just a possibility. Yeah. So I think that's okay. Okay. Confirm that the plant only affect the cost. Uh, Not just the change in color of the liquid. The main thing is the amount of carbon dioxide. Because the color change of the liquid is because of the amount of carbon dioxide. So the main concept is the amount of carbon dioxide, the variable. Okay? The color is just an indication of amount of carbon dioxide. The amount of oxygen produced by the plant may be more than carbon dioxide produced. That is for part C, is it? We don't need to talk about oxygen in this question. We are not comparing the oxygen. We are comparing carbon dioxide only. Yeah, Jacob, rate of respiration compared to rate of photosynthesis. Okay, I think that's okay, but you can give a more absolute answer lah. Because you talk about the rate of respiration, so you can say rate of respiration of both the plant and the snail, okay, maybe more than the rate of photosynthesis. Right. Why we say may, right? Because the question also may, right? Meaning that it's just a possibility, right? She was predicting that, oh, there can be more. There may be, she was predicting that there is more. Okay? But she may not be correct because there are other possibility. Okay, so it's just a may. Yeah, if you never write the presence of light, I think it's okay lah, because you understood that there's photosynthesis. Okay. Uh, is transpiration meant to be tested in PSLE? Yes, PSLE tests you transpiration, but not exactly the term transpiration. Okay, but you must know what transpiration is, which is the loss of water through the leaves, right, through the stomata, right? And that is tested. But they don't actually teach you the term transpiration. But it's just one word lah for for the name of the process. Okay, so yes, it's tested. Okay, you never write the word may. Okay, depending on how you phrase it, you may still get the mark. Okay, let me move on. Okay, let me move on. A lot of questions to go through. Question two. All right. Electromagnet question. So in this question, now what we have here, you have to read the question carefully. You have to read the question carefully. I think I'm using the old version. Okay, this is the close switch. Okay, now, so you should see that your switch is closed. The correct version is the switch is closed for this setup to work. Okay, so the door was in the unlocked position. Okay, so they describe when do you know it's locked? The door is locked when iron bolt is inside the door housing. So which means that if the iron bolt is here, okay, if the iron bolt is here, then it fit into the housing, then the door cannot be opened. So that is locked. But now what you see here, what you see on this diagram is that, okay, the iron bolt is not in the door housing. So this is the unlocked position. Okay, so why is it unlocked? Because you can see the spring is now compressed. So it must have the metal rod must have attracted the iron bolt to it. And this must occur in a closed circuit where the electromagnet is working, attracting the iron bolt, which is magnetic. Okay, so first part, can you tell me what's the property of the metal rod for this door lock to work? We just need to state a property. That's the command word. Okay, we have understood this whole situation, right? We're going to see what allows this iron bolt to move left and right, in and out of the housing. I see the wrong answer that I want already. Actually, I'm looking for the wrong answer, not looking for the right answer. So, yes, I saw a wrong answer. Repulsion. No, of course, I want your correct answer, but I'm catching for anyone who got it wrong. Okay, so the correct property, okay, most of you got it correct. No, we do not want attraction repulsion. Okay, that is just to understand okay, now I'm seeing more wrong answers. Okay, strange, So what is the issue here? The question is, do I need it to be an electrical conductor? I mean, it is lah, of course. It's an iron bolt. It's made of iron, made of metal. But is this the property that we are looking at? Does it need to be an electrical conductor in this question? What makes... No, right? So that's when some of you got it wrong. It is not meant to be an electric conductor in this question. Because, you see, this metal rod has wires quite around it. But is the metal rod part of the circuit? Is it connected to the wires? It's not like the wires are just quite around the metal rod. So electricity is not flowing through the metal rod. So the property here is not it's not the electrical conductivity, but being a magnetic material. Okay, you can say it is magnetic, you can say it is made out of magnetic material. Okay, I think this should be, okay, maybe I change this answer, just say it is magnetic. Okay, since they asked for property. Okay, so property is magnetic. All right. Okay. All right, next one. Explain why the door becomes locked when the switch is open. Okay. So let's go through part B. So in part B, how do we do this? Now the switch is closed. Okay. The iron bolt was attracted to the metal rod, which is the electromagnet. So why the door becomes locked when switch is open? So usually we do it when we close the switch and then we describe the whole process of how something happened. Now we are doing the reverse. We open the switch. Yeah, for 2A, if you write magnetic material, it's okay. Okay, it still describes the property. Okay. No, magnetic doesn't mean it's magnetic. Magnetic doesn't mean it's magnet. It's magnetic. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. The property is a magnetic. Maybe I should keep the original answer, magnetic material. What do you think, Jashini? Yeah, maybe I should keep the original answer. It's made of magnetic material. It's magnetic, sounds like it's the magnet, right? Okay, lah, okay lah. Maybe I keep the original answer here. Okay? Because some of you are asking if I say magnet, if it's magnetic, doesn't mean there's a magnet. Uh, yeah, so to avoid the confusion, okay, maybe we just say it's a magnetic material. So it is not a magnet per se, okay? So it was made into a temporary magnet. But itself, the property is that it's made of magnetic material. Okay? That's clearer. Okay, to avoid confusion. Okay, now so let's explain this. So, okay, I have answer. When the switch is open, circuit is open, metal rod is no longer an electromagnet. Okay, so the spring is no longer attracted by the metal rod. Springs back to normal. Springs back to normal. Is there another way to write it? Springs back to normal. What is normal? There's no normal here. It's, it's either out of the housing or into the housing. So it's yeah, or the spring, right? So the spring becomes not compressed. That's what you mean. Okay. Goes back to the original length. Okay, if you tell me the spring is no longer compressed and goes back to the original length, okay. Or I can say the spring pushes the iron bolt into the door housing. Okay, because essentially you know, right, you all have learned forces. It's the elastic spring force that actually pushes it. Okay, so it's best you use elastic spring force because now we're talking about compressed spring. So when you let it go, this compressed spring is going to exert the force and push the iron bolt into the housing. Okay, the housing is not a magnet, it's just a gap. Do we have to explain both when it's open and closed? No, we just need to talk about when it's open. Read the question, Zhou Xiao. They just say the switch is open. Okay, we do not need to talk about when it is closed. Okay, so currently it is closed. So what happens when we open it? Okay, so I think yes, you must say the elastic spring force. Okay, which some of you did. Very good. Okay, so many of you can write this answer. So when switch is open, loses the magnetism, so no longer does not attract the bolts anymore. Your answer cannot be so brief, lah. Yongzhi. Cannot be so brief. We don't need to explain why the spring was compressed first. We just need to explain why door becomes locked when switch is open. That's the actual question. It was compressed at the start, but we don't explain that. The question did not ask us to explain that. Okay, so you can avoid writing that. Alright, so when the electromagnet is no longer attracting the iron bolts, we have this force that pushes this elastic spring force from the compressed spring. It pushes the iron bolt into the door housing. Oops. Okay, so it is best you talk about elastic spring force because that is exactly what causes it to go into that position. Okay? Okay, I think some of you have explained why it was compressed, right? When it is locked. Uh, I mean, uh, lock. When it's compressed, it's not locked, right? Right. Okay, but if let's say you have explained why the spring was compressed, okay, as long as you don't explain anything wrongly, you give me a bit more information, okay, you will not be deducted mark lah. Okay, they will just mark you for whatever is required. Unless what you have written got something wrong. Okay, then you may not get the full marks. Okay? Let me see the Q&A. Can we say spring extend back to original length? Yes, you can say the spring extend back to original length, but do not just tell me it goes back to original length. What I'm looking for is really elastic spring force. Okay? Because just telling me it goes back to original length is not telling me how the iron bolt goes into the housing. Okay? The question did not clearly state that you must use force, but if you think about the science concept here, it is the force that pushes it back. Okay? So you should write elastic spring force. Okay, so Sam Yen add in the elastic spring force. Okay, I think that is missing in a lot of your answers. Wow. Okay, you added energy. Okay, you just need to answer that. If you say magnetic force instead of magnetism, and that is fine. Wait, I need to skip question. Looks similar to one of the PSLE question. Ah, is it? Of course, they look similar to one of the PSLE question because these are trending questions. Okay, we are testing you on questions that may come up again, similar to what you have seen before. Okay, because if you realize, right, all the PSLE questions, they have some similarity, right? Okay, you all have seen the carrot question and the captain question. They're actually all similar, what? You all know what I'm talking about. The carrot and the captain, the toy. Okay, they are all PSLE questions, and you see the concept is the same. They just change it slightly. Maybe one got a spring, one don't have a spring, but essentially it's all the same electromagnet. Does every PSLE have this type of question? In the last few years, okay, there was a reason why I went through the electricity webinar, right? In the last few years, they tested it quite they give a quite a high weightage for electricity, but I cannot guarantee you this come out this year. So just practice on it. It may come out, it may not. Iron and steel, are they the accepted magnetic materials or others like nickel is okay? They are okay. Nickel is okay. Okay? But in your syllabus, PSLE syllabus, mainly just iron and steel. They will not test you on nickel. Okay? Because they only test you on iron and steel. Okay. A lot of questions. When the switch is open, there's no indication. Okay, Alicia, your answer is still not enough, right? So the second part, the spring will no longer be compressed. So what causes the door to become locked? So there's some missing gap. So spring was no longer compressed. And then how does that make the door lock? So you're missing the second part. So you get the 1 mark for the first part. Okay, you see the first part is just talking about the electromagnet is not working anymore. That's the first mark. But second mark is talking about how exactly the door becomes locked. So we need to talk about the elastic spring force. We need to talk about the iron bolt entering the door housing. Okay? Aluminum is not a magnetic material. You all know what the magnetic materials are, only about 4 of them. Okay? But you just need to know iron and steel. Okay, let's look at next part. Okay. So when the switch was opened, the iron bolt did not go deep enough into the door housing to lock the door properly. So something went wrong, right? So by right, it's supposed to lock the door, but no, you went haywire. There was something wrong. So when the spring was replaced with a stronger spring now, what do you all understand by a stronger spring? I purposely put stronger. Because if you take note of the PSLE paper, right, they like to use stronger instead of stiffer, but they are the same thing, okay? Stronger and stiffer means the same, Yeah, stronger means harder to compress, same as stiffer. Okay, if it's stronger means it's stiffer, which also means it's more difficult to compress. Okay? And more difficult to stretch. Right? So now they have been compressed to the same length. We are using the stronger spring, right? It has been compressed to the same length. So that is kept the same, a fair test. So now the door can be locked properly when the switch was open. Okay, so I think some of you already put in your answer. More potential, more elastic potential energy. Is that uh the best one that you can use? Should we talk in terms of energy or should we talk in terms of force? If you realize, right, so this part here it is the force that pushes the boat into the housing. So if we say that it's a stronger spring or a stiffer spring, then your answer should be related to the force again. Okay, so there will be greater elastic spring force. Okay, less of the energy. But you're not wrong that yes, it has more elastic potential energy. But how does that relate to able to close the door, able to lock the door properly? Okay, so it's okay if you have mentioned greater elastic potential energy, but you have to add in the elastic spring force, which is also greater. Okay? Yes, you can just say potential energy, but it's better to tell me the specific type. Stiffer means more difficult. More difficult is stronger. You imagine you like compare. Okay, you imagine you have a box. No, maybe not a box. Okay, you just think about something stronger, right? Means it's more difficult. Okay, the spring is stronger, so you have a more difficult time to, try to compress it. Right? To convert into more kinetic energy. Uh, I would say forces will be a better explanation, easier to explain also. Because you just simply need to say greater elastic spring force. But you say if the stronger spring, we will have greater elastic potential energy, which then can be converted into greater kinetic energy, and therefore the boat can go faster and further into the housing. Okay, but you must give me the complete answer lah. Okay? What type of question is question two? What type? Um, type. What type of answer are you asking for? Asking for electromagnet, the concept. The concept here is electromagnet, forces. Okay, you see this kind of question, they combine a few topics, right? We have spring, which is forces and energy. We have electricity. A few topics combined together. Okay? So what type of question? Multi-topical question or in what are integrated concepts, as well as explanation question. And you, of course, you must first understand what this whole question is about. You must analyze the diagram. So analytical question. There's a lot of answers. I don't know how to explain to you. Okay? What type of answer are you looking for? When should we write about forces and energy? So you must see which one is the most applicable. In this case, I would say forces will be more applicable because it's supposed to push the iron bolt into the housing. Okay, that is more applicable. I would say it's more accurate. Okay. Okay, let's move on to what is in the Q&A. How do I spot keywords or like find keywords, because so far the questions gone through, I don't have the keywords. How do I spot keyword, find keywords? Okay, JE, what are the missing keywords that you missed out? Let's say in question two. What's the missing keyword that you don't have? You see, because this whole question is explaining the whole process. You go in like you go through step by step, right? You go through step by step. What happens when I close the switch? Okay. Okay. For example, it's like I'm going through the process. How do you go to school every day? No, you wear your school uniform, eat breakfast. Okay, go downstairs, take the bus. So you're going through the process. So now, when I open the switch, what will happen next? No electric current flowing through. The electromagnet lose the magnetism, does not attract the boat. Okay, so you describe the whole process in detail, then your keywords should come in. Okay, it will be, I won't say there's no keywords. There are some keywords such as lose the magnetism, that's keyword. Right? If you don't say that, then how do you say it? Right? Do you need to write about open and closed circuit? It's not so necessary, not so crucial lah. Okay. So what I've written here are the most crucial part of the answer that you must write for the correct answer. Okay. Why are you asking about the cells? Okay, cells has been removed, right? I know. Cells too easy. Too easy, they don't want to test you anymore. De-electromagnetize. No lah. Not such, no such word. De-electromagnetize. Demagnetize. Okay, de-electromagnetize. Just demagnetize will do. Don't need to be de-electromagnetized, okay? Okay, question three. Question three, we have some eggs here. Talking about eggs. Hungry already. Okay, so what we have here, we have two different birds. They are, okay, so bird P usually lays her eggs in the nest of another bird, bird S. Very bad bird, right? So she going to deposit her eggs in another bird's nest and let that person take care, let that bird take care of its eggs. Okay, so they resemble each other. Okay, from our eyes, maybe they may not look so similar, but in the eyes of the birds, to them maybe they look the same. They cannot differentiate. Okay, forced adoption, interesting. Okay, right. So bird S incubate and rear the offspring of bird P, like their own offspring. Okay, so suggest a reason why the adult bird S fails to detect. Okay, I think it's just saying that they look too similar to each other and the bird cannot differentiate. Okay, so you just simply need to say that they look similar. That will be sufficient actually. Okay, the only difference here is that, okay, maybe to them, they just look like small egg, big egg. They don't look identical, right? So don't say identical. So you can just say they look similar. Okay, you can add on that the eggs look similar, and so the bird S cannot tell the difference. Okay, blend in. You that I guess that's okay. Blend in with the other eggs and look like each other. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so I think this one is more straightforward. Just say that they are similar and the bird cannot differentiate. Okay, let me just add it in. And bird S cannot tell the difference. Okay, the rest actually don't need. Yeah, the second part on the smaller egg, bigger egg, that one I think not necessary to get that full 1 mark. Instead, we talk about why the bird S fail to detect, right? Okay, so we don't need the exception there. So I think I changed the answer here to make it better. So they look similar, the eggs look similar, so the bird S cannot tell which egg is not its egg. Okay, who shouted? Only I shouting here. I'm talking to you all. Nobody shouted. Okay. Well hidden. It's not well hidden, right? Hidden means like you cannot see. So yeah. What topic is this? This is living together. This is living together, adaptation. Actually, all these are all classified under interaction within the environment. So that is considered one big topic. That's it. It doesn't look like a science question. All these are science questions, of course. All these things relating to organisms, they're all science questions. Colorblind, bad eyesight, you cannot really cannot really say that. Because there's no way to confirm that. Okay, just say they cannot tell the difference. Okay, next part. So bird young of bird P grows large very quickly, and it is usually larger than the young of bird S. So it sometimes kicks the young of bird S from its nest. So they are so cruel, right? Okay, they want to occupy the whole nest. So give a reason why this behavior is an advantage when there is limited food for them. So you see a lot of what Japanese occupation. Okay, don't write nonsense, So let's focus in the science here. Okay, let me see how it answers. Growth very large. Okay, Betty. Let me see, Your answer is very good, but you see this is 1 mark, right? And what you have done is basically half the answer is repeating the question. So make your answer concise. You do not need to repeat the question. Just start from it can get more food from there. Okay, just start from that part. Otherwise, you spend so long just to write for 1 mark. Okay, you do not repeat the question, don't waste the time. Okay, so I've seen some good answer. Young can't grow fat easily. Hello, let's focus here. Okay, so focus on this part here. So more food can be fed, they will receive more food will be fed to the young of P. Okay, this is just one possible answer, right? So that it can grow more healthily. You can say there will be less. You can also mention there will be less competition for food. And that will be that will be the same point as the first highlight here. More food will be given to the young of bird P. They have less competition. Okay. And the second part, okay. So second part, I say grow more healthily. Some of you said it can increase the chance of survival. Also can. As long as you talk about how is that an advantage. Okay, so there can be different answers to this, Why assume they are more worthy for the food? Hello? Talk about science. We use science here. Yes, what? Camouflage? Okay lah. Camouflage means blend in with the surroundings, right? Blend in with all the other eggs. I think that's okay. Okay. BC, some of the Q&A. What the definition of boiling is still there? Will there be break? No, no break. As you can see, I'm already short of time, I believe. Okay. What's the difference between competition for space and overcrowding? Wait, why are we at overcrowding already? Okay, I'll skip those questions first. Okay, all done with that question. Question 3B. So you see, right, a lot of times, in fact, right, when you all listen to some of my webinar, I talk about how this topic interaction within the environment is heavily tested. So you can see some of the concept is really to survive. The main thing is really how well they can survive, how well adapted they are to survive. Okay, so it's all about that. Okay, either to defend against the predator, either to increase their survivability rate. It's all the same thing. They want to survive. Okay, they can get more food, they have less competition, they can survive well, they can see better. Okay, it's all their adaptation and how they survive in the environment. Okay, yes, adaptation question. Okay, move on. Question 4. Alicia, your answer can be better if you talk about how it helped other than getting more food. So getting more food means what? Okay. Okay, to answer your question on overcrowding, why is this Samsung? Okay, difference between overcrowding and competition for space. Overcrowding generally just means that it's overcrowded. Competition doesn't mean it's overcrowded. Competition just means we are competing. Okay? Overcrowding already means that Okay, there's really not enough space. Okay? So competition just means competition. It's just like, for example, okay, two of us are fighting for food. We're all hungry. You go queue up, we are fighting for food. A? Which part A? Okay, we're all fighting for food, right? Okay, but doesn't mean that there's not enough food. Okay? A? Okay. Understand? So competition just means we are competing. Overcrowding means already no space. They're all already tight. That's overcrowding. Okay? Hunger Games. Yeah. We're all hungry. Anyone haven't had your dinner yet? I haven't had my dinner yet. Oh, teacher Hashini also hungry. We're all doing Hunger Games now. Okay? Let's finish this up. Okay. So which container would there be less water left after 4 hours? Now, we are choosing a container. So this is like a state question. State which container doesn't have less or would have less water after 4 hours. And then we are supposed to explain your answer. This is the question where we can use answering template, right? What is the answer template that we teach in my stretcher? Make sure you all use them. Thank you. This one very good. Zixuan, use ARR. QY, very good. ARR. Okay, we eat up the air. So A for, okay, which one have less water? B, right? Okay, maybe I write container B so it's not confusing. Okay, container B. The answer is container B. I means what? I means information, right? What information can we extract from this diagram? We compare container A and B. Container A only like that. Container B so much bigger. What is the variable being changed? What's the variable being changed? Surface, exposed surface area. Okay, so yes. So container B, because it has a bigger exposed surface area. Okay? So I have used information from the question. And finally, let's explain. So what if there's a larger exposed surface area? Thank you very much, Betty. Yeah, answer information reasoning. You all have learned well. Larger exposed surface area. Larger, yeah, of course. Larger, bigger, greater. Okay, doesn't matter. We are not dealing with English here. They all mean the same, right? Larger, bigger, greater. Okay, as long as it's a comparative term, you are comparing with container A. Okay, so that's okay. Right, so we end off. So larger exposed surface area and then water evaporated faster. Okay, so water evaporates or evaporated faster. Can just erase this ugly part. Oh no. Ayah. Okay, let me just erase my handwriting then. My answer is behind. Okay, let me show you the answer. Okay, but basically it's the same thing, just slightly different. So this is the A, this is the I, the R, water evaporate at a faster rate or evaporate faster. Okay? Okay. C, R also can. What cursed? So now C, R also can. Uh, can I see one more time? One more time what Yinghao? A, isn't this A? Isn't this part A? Egg question. Okay, Yinghao quickly. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. You don't have to talk about water vapor, but you must at least mention it evaporated, showing that it has gone, it has disappeared, it has become water vapor lah. But the point here is that it has evaporated. So you don't really need to say that it becomes water vapor. But if you have written that, of course, no issues. A A for answer, I for information, I just write info, R for reasoning. For those who use CER, please also go ahead. C for claim, E for evidence, evidence from the data, from the graph, from the diagram. So same thing here, info is from the question. Okay, answer is to answer the question directly, which container, right? If you write steam, of course, steam will be wrong here, right? So you will lose mark, right? Because it's only evaporation, not boiling. Okay, parts B. Compare the length after 4 hours. There's no half mark, so you might lose 1 mark. Yeah. So B will be shorter. Okay, so we already know, right? There will be less water in B. Okay, so less water in B, naturally the spring will become less stretched. Okay, but we need to explain, no, we need to explain in terms of forces for part C. Okay, so let's compare the length first. So this one you shouldn't have an issue. If you can answer A, you should be able to answer B. Because there's really less water in B, so less water pulling it down. Okay, but we must use scientific terms in terms of forces. Okay, so what is the force that we are focusing on? One of you asked, is melting and freezing point the same at 0 degrees Celsius? That depends on whether it's water. If it's water, yes. If it's not water, no. Okay, I mentioned that before. Okay, so the forces, type of force that we should explain. Elastic fortification? What is that? Okay, gravitational force. Our focus is gravitational force. So after 4 hours, there's less water in B. Okay, so your main answer should be on this. Less gravitational force exerts a downward force. Okay, why we write this? Because now we are talking about the spring. Okay, the gravitational force is gravitational force of the water. This is of water, right? Gravitational force acting on the water. Okay, maybe I don't write of water, acting on water. Okay, so basically, gravitational force is the weight, right? So the weight has decreased, gravitational force acting on the water has decreased, and that will result in a smaller downward force. Okay, smaller downward force. All right, so this will give you the first 1 mark. Let me just put the mark allocation here. And with a smaller downward force to pull it down because of the gravitational force, so B will stretch less. Okay, it becomes a shorter spring. All right. Let me see. Okay. Can I put the length of spring A will be longer than spring B? Yeah, sure. Are you sure? That's fine. Okay, your answer can be in terms of spring A, yeah? So your answer can be flipped. Okay, as long as the understanding is correct. After 4 hours, there will be less water in B, so less gravitational force acting on spring B, so B will be stretched. Okay, less gravitational force. Okay, Tobias, your answer is slightly off, right? Okay, when we talk about, you see, what is this gravitational force? You must be clear, must be a bit specific in your answer. This gravitational force belongs to the water. So the gravitational force of acting on the water decreases because there's less water, right? And that changes to a downward force. If you write gravitational force acting on the spring, it feels like it's the weight of the spring, which is wrong. The weight of the spring did not change, but the weight of the water has changed. Okay, so the meaning is different. All right. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so so many answers. Using the mass to be less and A will be heavier. Need to write about it. No, we don't need to write about the elastic spring force because now our focus is just on the downward force pulling the spring. Okay? Wow. Yeah, Betty answer is okay. Why use both overcrowding equipment? Because because the meaning are not the same, right? So it will reduce both overcrowding and both competition. Okay, I mean competition, yes. Overcrowding means excessive competition. So you can reduce that as well as all competition. Okay, so just write both is okay. Ah, okay. Now question five. Question five, back to trying to survive. Question five. So we have the turtle. Actually, such questions are quite common, Okay. So we have eggs being laid in the sand, okay, before the turtle returns to the sea. Then the young will hatch about 8 weeks later. Okay, so did the turtle lay fertilized or unfertilized egg? What do you think? Is that the chicken egg? If you hear some chip 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 in your refrigerator, you know your your chicken egg has been fertilized. Language, please, Tobias. Okay, so in this case, if they can just hatch on their own after 8 weeks, because the adult lay the egg, they are gone. They don't care about the eggs, they just leave it there. And if the eggs hatch, they must have already been fertilized, right? It doesn't make sense if you lay unfertilized egg and somehow they will fertilize and they hatch. Where did that male reproductive cell come from? Okay, so they have already been fertilized. Okay, then they lay the egg. Okay. How do you fertilize a laid? Huh? How do you fertilize a laid egg? So if the eggs are really laid, okay, then for some organisms okay, most organisms they will lay the fertilized egg, but there are some who do external fertilization, right? Yeah, you go and search salmon, what the releasing sperm over the eggs. Yeah, some fish lah, some fish. You have not seen that before, ah? Yeah. Go on YouTube all this, okay? Maybe after PSLE you can find all this. That is called external fertilization. Okay, so if they can lay fertilized egg, that is internal fertilization. Okay, they have fertilized the egg inside the body, then they release that fertilized egg. Understand? Moving on, part B. Okay, listen, this one we need to analyze the graph. Okay, so the graph shows how the number of male and female turtles that hatched at the end of 8 weeks changes with temperature of the sand. Okay, so the shaded one for female, the white one for male. Okay, so based on the info, describe how. Okay, we just need to describe how. That's a command word. Do not go and explain. Okay, that's what some of you will do. Describe. We just need to describe how temperature affects the total number of eggs, turtle eggs hatched. So you see, this is 2 marks, guys. 2 marks. We cannot just give a 1 mark relationship question. Okay, you all should know this is relationship, right? As the temperature increase, and then what happens? Okay, so this is relationship, but it's 2 marks. And the question is asking for total number. We just look at the total number. Total number means here, this is the trend we are looking at, the values. Okay, not the individual male and female one. Okay, we look at the total. Okay, so what's the trend? So the trend here, it goes up from 28 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Number of eggs hatched increased. After that, it went down. From 30 to 36, it went down. Okay? So you must tell me the temperature range. If you don't write the temperature range, you don't get the full marks. Okay? Because how will we know from where to where? Okay, so this is a 2 marks relationship question that you need to write it twice. Give me the value of the change variable, which is the temperature. Why I still got so many questions? Okay, okay. You see why I have so many questions? Because I want to share all these trending questions with you guys. As a last final revision. Does temperature actually affect the rate? Yes, yes, Lynn, that's correct. That's why we have all these data are not like it's not like fake data. I mean, we may not be the exact number or ratio, okay, but definitely there's an effect. Temperature really does affect some of their reproduction rates. Okay, it's a real thing. If it's 1 mark question, that means that you should only have one trend, and then you don't really need to state the values. Okay, all done with that. Now, in case you have not copy finished, right, it's okay. Remember, the YouTube video will be up in just maybe one or 2 days. So the most important thing is to understand this. Okay? The answer key will also be uploaded, okay, in the Telegram chat. Thanks for sharing the Telegram channel. Okay, so global warming has caused average temperature of the sand to increase from 32 to 34. Okay, we're all suffering from this. But how has the population size of the turtle? Okay, they say the population size decreased significantly, quite bad. So suggest 2 possible reasons for this. Of course, you can use some information in the graph, right? What could be the reason why the population size has decreased significantly? You don't say temperature too hot. So what if temperature is high? What's next? What's the link to the population size? Okay, it's definitely not saying that, oh, they die because of heat. No, I'm not. It has to be linked to the question. We have all this information about the eggs being hatched and all. How do you use this information? Okay, must make use of this information about the eggs being hatched or not. Okay, so from 32 to 34, right? From 32 degrees Celsius to 34. Okay, two reasons, so 1 mark for each reason. Okay, so what happens? Yes, I think Tobias' answer is fine. Less pair in adulthood to reproduce. Okay. Okay, so you see, right? 32 to 34, what happens? So I'm gonna use green. 32 to 34. What happened to the total number? Number of eggs hatched decreased. So that is one reason. Okay, the very simple one. Total number of eggs hatched decreased. Second one being, you look at the meal. So much fewer meals that were hatched. So eventually they cannot find their mates, right? The female cannot find the male. Then how to reproduce? Okay, so cannot reproduce, right? So because of the fewer number of male turtles being hatched. Okay? Yes, Betty, that's the first mark, that's fine. But I talk about the second point for the much fewer male turtles. So when it's 2 marks, you must think of, I mean, the question already said two possible reasons, so must give you two reasons. Okay? Okay, please take a screenshot for this. I will need to move on. The time is running out. Take a photo or something. Predator? No, you can't tell anything about predator in this question about the temperature. We are just talking about temperature. How does temperature got to do with the predator? Yeah, Betty, your answer is okay. Yes, correct. Okay, next one. No, no, nothing about predator. Okay? Because it was just about temperature, so nothing about predator. Yes, what? Hmm, which one? Which one? Ice cap melt and water level will rise. So if you talk about ice caps, increase temperature from 32 to 34 degrees Celsius, more ice caps melt. Wow, you think very far ahead, Think about the actual climate change and all. It's actually possible. It is actually possible to be honest, it's possible. But actually our focus is mainly on the information in the question here, right? About the number of eggs hatched. Okay. So try to use information in the question, see what the question is all about. In this question, the variable is the temperature. So you can make use of that information to talk about ah okay. Yeah. Okay, one of you pointed out. So this is about the sand. Oh. Average temperature of the sand increased from 32 to 34. But although they say global warming, so that's why the main focus is not on the overall global warming, but just on this question about the temperature. Okay? So yeah, try not to go so far on the water level rising and all. Okay? Okay, next question. Yeah, if it's average temperature of the Earth, yes, that's global warming. The actual global warming question. Okay? Now, what is temperature? So, a measure of how hot or cold an object is, or you can say a measure of the degree of hotness of an object. Yeah. Yes, I think most of you got it correct. So buyers don't keep sending so many times, can I keep seeing the same thing, so I thought everyone got correct. So, but it's all you. Okay, so go and take note of some of these definition question. Temperature is one of them. And just like at the start, someone was already asking, what is boiling? What is freezing? Those are the very common ones that will come out. Why I write temperature here? I'm thinking, I'm guessing, I'm predicting temperature is going to come out. So we'll see whether we are correct. Okay, I'm trying to spot the definition in this year paper. So the chances is maybe 60% temperature will come out. Okay, if you write something instead of object, I think that is okay. Okay, now based on the graph, state the temperature in the refrigerator. 10, 10. Celsius is not spelled with a C in the middle. It's S. Okay, but it doesn't matter. So you see the temperature decreases and then it becomes almost constant at 25 degrees Celsius. Sorry, at 25 minutes. So it reached 10 degrees Celsius. Okay, so 10 degrees Celsius. Because that is the room condition, room temperature in the refrigerator. Okay, so it had cooled down to that. Explain why Bruno should record every minute for the first 10 minutes instead of every 5 minutes. So in this experiment, it was recorded every 5 minutes. So why he should have recorded it every minute? To see the actual change. Anything better than that? CT is 2 marks. And this was actually one of the PSLE question. Okay, the results can be more accurate, more precise, maybe not more precise, more accurate, better. Because we are changing how we are measuring. So we are changing the method, we are changing how often we record the data. So I think that will make it more accurate. More reliable? No, reliable is a repeat experiment, right? Okay, so yeah. So my answer here, two parts, right? 2 marks, 1 mark for each. The first reason why my com is lagging already. Okay. You first talk about how quickly the temperature changed in the first 10 minutes. I can see, right? It's quite a steep slope for the first 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes. At this very start is very steep. Okay, so if you measure it at a shorter time interval, then the results you get will be more accurate. Let me change it. Your temperature is recorded every 5 minutes. Okay, that's a typo there. Okay, sorry, every minute is correct. Okay. What am I doing? Okay, so every minute is correct. So we measure every minute for the first 10 minutes, right? So instead of measuring 2 times, we measure 10 times. Okay, so your graph will be more accurate also. Sean, you're right. Okay, Sean, you're right. Some of you might be tricked to see that the constant reading at 10 degrees to be freezing. Okay, but it's not freezing, right? Because they say that it's just a refrigerator. Okay, and this is water. Water freeze at 0, not 10. Okay? So it's not freezing. Okay, okay. Please take a screenshot for this. No, it's not about more reliable. Reliable means that you don't do it more times. Let's say I repeat this experiment, right? Okay, then that is not reliable. Okay, I have consistent results. Okay, next question. Some of you chasing me already. Right. What is the possible hypothesis for Jeremy's experiment. So this is a hypothesis question. You are supposed to make an educated guess of the results. What did he measure? Basically, this you see the I try to speak very fast. My tongue tied. I have two setups. Okay, the difference is just the presence of the glass lid. One have, one don't have. And measure the time taken for the water to start boiling. This is the measured variable. What is the hypothesis in this case? Why did he do this experiment? The volume of water will decrease if it's heated without a lid. Hmm. No, I don't think that's the answer, Audrey. You see what is the measured variable? Time taken for the water to start boiling. Okay, we are talking about time taken for the water to start boiling. So it's how fast the water boils. Okay? What is that? What is the language? The water with the glass lid will boil faster. Yes, that's a possible answer. Okay? So we are trying to see whether with the glass lid can affect the time taken for the water to start boiling. Okay, whether it boils faster or whether it boils slower. Okay? So you need to give me a firm statement. So placing a glass lid on the beaker of water cause water to boil faster or cause the water to boil slower. Because the measured variable is the time taken. Okay, Betty answer is fine. Boil faster with the glass lid. The water will boil faster with the glass lid. Okay. Does not affect. Okay, so you're saying that placing a glass lid on the beaker of water does not affect how fast the water boils. Then that's okay. You must use my phrasing, does not affect how fast the water boils. Because it's about speed, because we are measuring time taken. Understand? Okay, I need to speed up a little bit more. Parts B. So when water is boiling, okay, this is the standard white mist question, so please get this right. Explain the formation of the white mist. To find out, no, it's not to find out. To find out is the aim of the experiment. Hypothesis is a predicted result. Okay? Okay. So what should you have in your answer? When the water was boiling, this is the start, right? When water was boiling, so what is formed? Steam was formed. Okay? And steam is basically hot water vapor. Okay, this is for the W lah. Okay, W usually for warm water vapor, so steam is hot water vapor. Okay, the same. So steam comes in contact with the cooler surrounding air, lose heat, and condense to form water droplets, tiny water droplets, which is the mist. What? Okay, teacher Ashini is suffering. She's struggling to answer all your questions. And there's so many of you. Does not affect the time taken for the water to start boiling. Does not affect the time taken for the water. Okay, I think that's okay. Time taken for the water to start boiling will remain the same if the... Yeah, I think those that says that time taken for the water to start boiling will remain the same. Okay, then I think that's fine. Yeah. Is that the one? Okay. Okay, so double check answer. There's a lot of answers, so I cannot be going through everything. What's the reason that the water is... What's the reason that the water in the setup with glass will take a longer time to boil? You go and find out. Okay, let's move on. I know it's time, but I need to go through the next one. Okay, all done with this, Make sure you use WCLC or whatever you are using so far that works for you. Water gains heat from the heat source and boils. Uh, In this case, the question is boiling, so just talk about boiling. No need to talk about evaporation. So you can start off with, then you can talk about the steam. Okay? Question 8. Another electricity question, and if you have seen the PSLE paper, you should have seen such question coming out before, and no, there's a 50% chance this may come out. Okay, now which position should the bulb be placed? And our purpose is to make them light up at the same brightness. Okay, so remember what is the method that we have taught you. So brightness, the measure of brightness, we can use number of batteries over number of bulbs in the path. Okay? So now you see I have already X, I have Y, I have Z. X and Y are in the same path. That's already two bulbs in the same path. Okay? For Z, there's only one. So if I make another bulb, if I add another bulb in P, in R, that will make this path having two bulbs. And we will have the same number of bulbs in both pathways. So our answer is P or R. Either one, P or R, is just the same. They are in the same path. Okay? So that will make one battery over two bulbs for both pathways. So that's half brightness. But they are all the same. Alright? Can 7A, 7B for quick screenshot. 7A, 7B. I think this is 7, right? 7, yeah. Screenshot 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Lydia, of course. Please have a good rest. Okay, move on. Question 9. Sorry, I may have to extend this like 10 minutes to finish up the rest. So sorry. WCLC. W is the warm water vapor, in this case the steam. Okay, C for cooler surface, cooler surrounding air, cooler whatever surface that is. L for losing heat, C for condensation. Okay, condense. Okay, now let's go through this. So at which temperature would all the substance be at the same state? Okay, the answer for this is 450 degrees Celsius. Okay, for A, 150 degrees Celsius is a gas. 150 is here. 150 is also here. 150 is also here. All of them are in the gaseous states. Okay, all of them are in the gaseous states. Right? Okay, I will move on. Question 10. Okay, I believe this one you all should have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. What would be the answer for this? Question 10. 2, very good. Okay, right. So you can see all these objects placed on the springs, and which one is holding the most load, is withstanding the most load? R, right? Oh, sorry, R. I think I'm tired. It's Z. Okay, so we have so many things above spring Z, and it is just like other springs, all compressed to 2 cm. So this spring must be the strongest or the stiffest. Okay, I just write the strongest, because with so much load on it, it is still compressed to the same length as the rest. Okay, so Z is the strongest and X will be the weakest. Okay, or I can say the least stiff. All right, so let's say I compress all of them to the same length. Which one will exert the greatest force? Okay, so one way to read this graph is that, okay, I compress them to the same length because the diagram gives us 2 cm, right? So all of them are at the same length. So let me just draw a line here, a broken line. So which one exerts the most force? This is Z, this is Y, this is X. right? Must be the strongest one that exerts the most elastic spring force. So answer is 2. Okay? Z will be the greatest. When they are compressed to the same length, the stiffer spring, the strongest spring, will exert the greatest elastic spring force. Understand? That's why it is 2. You can write strongest, you can write stiffest. In PSLE, they usually write strongest or stronger. But you can write stiffer if you want to. They are the same. Okay? And I can tell you this question, this type of spring and this graph came out in PSLE. Wow, I don't know how many times already. So please, okay? Go and practice on this, understand this. And how many questions more? Okay, last question. Yes. Please tell me the answer to this. Okay, what is this answer? 3. Thank you, Vashita. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me since I don't know when. Long time ago, maybe. Okay, thanks. Okay, I see your answers. I have a variety of answers. 1, 2, 3, 4 even. Okay, let's see. Now, first thing is to understand that whenever the reading on the light sensor changes, what are we moving? Are we moving the object here? Okay. Light intensity changes when we are changing this distance. The distance between the lamp, the light source, and the sensor will affect the reading. That's it. So in this case, the reading increases. So the distance must be shorter. They must have come closer together for the reading to increase. That's the first thing to understand. Okay? So the distance decreases. Okay, this distance, I'm talking about the one I've annotated, the distance decreases. So the lamp or the screen has moved towards each other. So in this case, if let's say I move the screen, then it is possible it has moved towards the metal sheets. It's possible. So the metal sheet did not move. Like I said, it must be either the lamp or the screen. So if the lamp move, it's possible. Okay, but it must be at least towards the metal sheet, so not away. So only 1 and 3 are possible. But which one is the one that really caused the reading to go to 0 and why? Okay, so either the screen or the lamp moved towards the metal sheet in order for the reading to increase. Okay, then next, what caused it to go to 0? What caused it to go to 0? So when it casts a shadow, right? So that maybe there's a shadow here. The shadow is here. But if I move the lamp towards the if I move the lamp towards the object, if I move this here, okay, if I move this here, so my shadow will become even larger. Understand? Okay, my shadow will become even larger, and what happens here? It blocked the sensor. Okay? So which means that this one, it causes shadow to enlarge. Okay, and therefore eventually blocks the sensor, which then causes the reading to go to 0. Okay? Yes. If we look at option 1, right? Move towards the screen move towards the metal sheet, then what happens to the shadow size? Shadow will become smaller. And it will not cause the reading to go to 0. Okay? So it's not 1, it's 3. Understand? Sherry, do we have a poll? Do you have a poll? No? Okay, for those, I know that maybe some of you still have burning questions. If let's say after today you still have any final questions that is not answered, you still have some final revision question you still want to ask, okay, you can ask in the Telegram chat. Is that okay? Ask in the Telegram channel. We'll try to answer you before the PSLE. All right, Yana? Okay, that's all for today. Thanks everyone for joining us for the last session. Okay, thank you very much. Really, this will be the last part, last lap. Okay, last few days to your PSLE. Okay, good luck to all of you, and I wish all of you get the result that you wish for. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you.